Hi guys, this is an impromptu and I'm just on the laptop camera, so lighting's a little weird. If I turn this one on, then my halo of hair will glow. But I wanted to come on. I'm just trying to finish up this dishcloth that I have no unearthly idea of why I decided to knit it on such big knitting needles, but I did, and I'm in here. I had switched everything around as far as the cats go because I was supposed to have, hi Pam, I was supposed to have the electrician here and the floor crew here. And that didn't work out because we had a storm coming through, and water and electricity, they don't really match. And then the floor crew didn't want to be traipsing in a bunch of dirt and stuff. So I think we're rescheduled for tomorrow. I had to call and cancel the turn the electric off, turn the electric back on for the electrical box work. So I had to cancel that for today. And then they called and said they'll be here tomorrow, or they texted me. And then so I had to call Dominion Energy back and say, let's take it off hold, but put it on tomorrow. So they're going to come tomorrow and turn the power off. And the reason I did all this switching around is the cats have been having enough trouble, and with having both teams here, the electrical and the floor crew. The floor crew will come in and out the front door. The electric crew will come in and out the catio. So I have my 3 cats in our bedroom now. I don't know what else to do about that. But so far they are enjoying it. This is the most peaceful they've been since this whole process started. Tippy and Howard are right next to my legs, and Callie's over there on top of the little bookcase I put my cookbooks that I use all the time in. But hi, Safia. My house is very much in utter chaos. I mean, I've got cookbooks in the bedroom. I've got things. I've got my linens are in the bathtub in the new bathroom, and we can't work on the bathroom because the linens are in there. But Trent, the one that got us all set up to have all this work done, he brought the contracting manager out, and they went over some things, and they discovered that they can't use pressure treated lumber under hardwood floors. So they've got to switch out the pressure treated that was bought and put a different, hopefully cheaper floor covering down instead, because pressure treated lumber is like $52 a sheet. So yeah. Now wait a minute. I think I did that wrong, because I'm on the purl side of this now. Can I get that back on there? This needs to be at the front. Sorry, almost did it wrong. They can just go get the lumber and switch it out, and the crew still has to, because the flooring was cut away from under the wall sections. I mean, so they had to cut it as close to the wall studs as they could, and get the rotten wood out. So they have to, everywhere at the end of a joist, in between the joists, they have to put some blocking in, so they have something to nail the new plywood down to. So they've got a in the living room and dining room side of it, they've got to put in one full joist, the joist that Scott broke dropping the Tower of Books that time. They went ahead and they took it totally out. They're going to put a complete joist back in. And then they got to do all that blocking work, and then they can start putting the plywood down. So once the blocking, which is just short little segments of wood, they just got to have something to nail into. They got to install it, and then they can start putting the plywood down. On other side of the wall, which is in the kitchen and the den, which is my craft room, they've got to do blocking, and they've got to replace one joist in the kitchen. And so the joist removal and stuff, that takes a lot longer than you think, because it's the wood in the house is from the 60s, and old wood, if you don't know, when a house ages, if the wood hasn't crumbled or rotted, it gets really, really hard. And so I don't know how many saw blades they went through to get the flooring up, but they spent one whole day. And those kids, they worked straight through. They didn't take a lunch or nothing. They were drinking those energy drinks that I think are so horrible for kids. And I say kids, these kids are 35 in their 20s that are working on my house. But I just think those energy drinks are the worst thing that's ever been developed, you know. So anyway, once they do the blocking work, they've got to do a bunch of blocking work around the chimney, because that little bit of flooring that was still good, that was sitting right in front of the fireplace, if you look at the pictures, there's like a narrow strip. That's actually holding my hearth up right now. That little strip of wood, that's it. There's no blocking there to hold the hearth up. So yeah, they didn't want to remove it, because then the hearth would have collapsed, and then I would have had, yeah, it would have been a nightmare if my fireplace front had started falling. So they've got to do that, and then they can put the plywood in. In the kitchen and in the bonus room, I think they can use the 3/4 inch plywood, but under anywhere there's a hardwood floor, they can't use pressure treated. So they got to swap the plywood out that was purchased. Some of it was purchased incorrectly to begin with. And then, so they got to do that switch out. So in my mind, somebody can go to Lowe's while the kids, the boys, are doing the blocking work and repairing the joist and that kind of thing. Somebody else could do the swap out of that plywood, and that would save them time. But I don't know how they operate. I know how I would have them do, because I've done management before to get a job done. But, not everybody thinks like a manager should. So, and I sit and I mull over a project, like even taking the house apart to have this done. I spent a bunch of nights in my sleep trying to decide where I could stick something to have it out of the way. It's been tricky, but I am so looking forward to seeing where we are come Friday, because we lost today, and they had told me it would only take a week or two. Well, technically, we are on, let's see, I think they were here the day after Christmas, and then they were here, the Monday, and then they were off Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they worked Thursday, Friday. So they've already done some work for 4 days and then we had the weekend. Today was canceled. So they've got about 5 days worth of work in already. So to me, that's 1 week is already shot. So if they're not done by the end of the week, I'll be looking at probably more labor costs, adding on, which cringe. Thankful Scott was thoughtful and put away a bunch of money and has these retirement accounts. Each place he worked, he has a retirement account. And this was from his first job that he ever worked after he got out the Navy, and he had a savings account, a retirement account. And they insisted that he cash out on it, because they were just going to be done with it. So he cashed out on that, and that's how we're affording this repair. So I had hoped to use some of this money for paying off debt so we could go into retirement with zero debt. But right now, I'm just trying to not spend any money that I don't have to. And I'm really going to focus this year on using what I have in supplies, like this cotton yarn. I have a full, like 25-gallon tub of it. So I'm going to focus on the things that I have and get them used up. And once I start using some things up, like some of this yarn and the fabric that I have, I need some new clothes that actually fit me. So I need to start making my own clothes because I have the fabric. There's no sense in me not doing it. And I have a bunch of thread. And I know how to sew. Can't do it though right now with my house with everything mixed up. So this is what I've been doing since I don't have to plan to make, space for them to work and do the work on the floors. My brain is switched to how am I going to put it all back together? Hi, Vicki. So my brain is going, you could utilize your space so much better. Bing, go away. Quit listening, nosy little booger. Anyway, so I've been thinking about how I can rearrange my room for better production. So I've been thinking on that. I'm going to rearrange my whole space once they get done and we get the flooring back down. Thankful that room will be the easiest to put back together because all the fussy cutting bits, except for one board we broke, it'll be just pieces. And we have more of that fake wood stuff out in the shed, the small shed. So that'll be together quickly. And then I can get my space back together. I'm hoping we can get the kitchen linoleum put back in. We've been looking at linoleum, at the different places. And Scott says, I think it's Floors and More has the best price on it. So we're going to look into that. And then I guess the front room, it's going to take some time for us to do that. Because I think by the time we put the flooring back down in the den / hobby room, and then we're going to maybe take a break and then do the linoleum in the kitchen. So all of my working space in the house will be taken care of. And quite frankly, we don't entertain much. So I don't mind living with the plywood for a little while in the front room. So we can think on that some more. Still leaning toward the Bruce hardwood product it's already been stained and it has like 10 coats of finish on it. So you just put it in place and nail it in place and you're done. You don't have to sand the floors or anything. Now the hallway right outside this door where they're going to pull up a bunch of it into the linen closet and all of the stuff I showed you in the video right in front of this door outside here. Scott's talking about he'll redo the hardwoods there and put the flooring back down. But when we do the hardwood type stuff, that's going to be something we have to do in small sections. In the middle of all that, I want that bathroom finished. So I don't know what I'll do with the linens, but that bathroom is going to be finished before we do hardwoods, I think. So I'll get feedback on Scott on that. You're in the middle of purging your studio. Yeah, I'll probably purge as I go. I've somehow lost a couple containers, like my container that one of those Dari's divided containers that I have all this flatback pearls and rhinestones and stuff, and my acrylic bin. Somewhere they've gotten misplaced in all of the move. But I want to go through those and get rid of all of the acrylic pieces that I will never use. I might just throw them in a box and say, anybody want to pay for the shipping on the box? That might be how I handle it. Like, I've got large priority boxes. I'll probably just say, if you pay for the large box, and it'll be first come, first serve. And no, I get confused when I start purling. I hate purling. I hate it. It is freeing. And then you have all that lovely space and you get everything organized, and it's so nice. And I think I'm going to switch my, it's just a little tiny dishcloth. It's just a little dishcloth. I like them kind of small. I don't like a big rag that flops all over the place. I had a neighbor, she introduced me to a smaller dishcloth, and I just love it. I don't like a great big one that, you're slapping nasty water everywhere, no matter how much you drain it off or wring it out. It could also be a washcloth, but it's just a square. And don't ask me why I pulled out these humongous needles for this little teeny project, but hey. Oh, you know what I did see that if I didn't have a bunch of projects surrounding me here, I've got my crochet along that I'm doing with Shannon, Art Junkie, which I'm way behind on that. And then I've got my slow stitch cart that I rescued the cart from a neighbor's trash. They were throwing it out. It looked like they'd used it in their bathroom. And I said, that'll be the perfect slow stitch cart. So there it is. And I've got lots of projects. But anyway, Crystal over at Bag a Day, she recently put up a new sweater pattern on her channel. And I'm thinking I want to make myself one of those sweaters. It never gets cold enough for a sweater here. But if we visit Tennessee or anything like that, it might be cold enough up there in the mountains to need a sweater. So, yeah. Now, they said they might send the floor crew out today, but it just looks so nasty. And then the text message said they'd be out tomorrow. So I'm just hiding out here. Doesn't she? And you know what really sucks is when she's doing a live and people swat her and the police show up while she's doing a live. I think that sucks. People that do that to people deserve a special place in Hades or stuck in purgatory or wherever dumbasses go. Not that I'm religious at all. So, but anyway, there's a special place for those jerks. It's just crappy, and it gets her dogs all upset and her children and her husband, and those people deserve all the nastiness that they can get. I know that sounds mean, but doggone. And it's happened to her several times. She even moved house to get away from it. And they've tracked her down, assholes. Sorry, said that out loud. It was in my head. It came out. You guys, these cats, the boy cats, they're one on either side of my left leg, and they are out. Callie's looking irritated. Callie wants to patrol. She's a typical female cat, and she wants to go and check for mice and that kind of thing, which we haven't seen anything move from under the house. And it's been open, so I've been able to see everything. Yep, Karma will get them eventually. So, yeah, we're going to need a break from all of this mess. And I'm thinking a day trip to, you know, maybe go down to Charleston and get on the beach and walk around at Folly and for the day. I've been wanting to get some pieces of driftwood. I would really love to get one. I guess I should measure that space. I want to do one of those where you hang beaded strands from a piece of driftwood, and I'd like to do it to hang in our new bathroom in that purple and teal and oceany colors. I had even thought about making some kind of window treatment. I don't collect seashells at the seashore anymore because of the problem the poor little crabs are having. They're having trouble finding shells for their homes because people collect shells and take them home. So the hermit crabs, you'll find them walking around like in the cap of a soda or the lid off something where they've tried to fit their bodies in there. Yes, it would be a lovely, and it's winter, so there wouldn't be a lot of people there at the beach, and we'd have it to ourselves. We'd have to bundle up because the wind at the beach is always, so special. Oh, it's pouring here again. So maybe that's why they said we're just going to call it for the day. Sometimes we just we say we're going to head toward Aiken, and we'll head toward Aiken, and then we'll turn down some side road and get ourselves lost. But are you really lost anymore? Can you ever really get truly lost anymore? Because you just grab your phone and it tells you where you are. So that was one idea. And we had thought about going back up to Greenville and maybe go up to Travelers Rest again and go to the Goodwill up there and do some checking on the property up there for Adele. And we'll see. Periodically, I stop and check and see if I'm almost square by, folding it corner to corner. I crocheted some dishcloths. I started two. I started one and then finished one when I was at my mother-in-law's doctor's appointment. Was that last week? I think it was last week. Yeah, last week. And then I finished that it was one of those smaller balls of cotton, and I finished it off, but I had to dig through my little crochet bowl I have here with cotton thread in it. Not thread, yarn. It's too thick to be a thread. So let me get to the end here. And I'll show you the ones I've crocheted because they're sitting here next to me. And I just used a pattern I found on the internet. It's super easy. You do one row that's just single crochet, and then the next row you start with a half double crochet, single crochet, half double crochet. You do that across, and then you do single crochet row, and then a row of half double singles, half double singles. And that's what I did. That's almost right. So these are the ones I did at the doctor's appointment. One of these I finished. And see, when I'm doing it, I just fold them so that if the edges meet this way, I know I've got a perfect triangle, so it's a perfect square. Excuse me. So there's that one, and then this one. And what I like about the variegated yarn is you get different looking dishcloths no matter what you do. Hi, Barbara Avery. How are you? I'm doing some dishcloths because I'm kind of hiding out with my cats back here because they can't be free in the house right now. And then this one, I started with that yarn, but then I I've got as close as I could to it with this kind of, I don't know, it's not beige, taupe maybe. And I think it looks okay. I generally, the ones where I've had to finish out with something else, I generally keep these for myself and then keep the pretty ones that are, all one color. And that pattern is so easy because it's just that row of single crochet and then a row of half doubles, single, half double, single across. And you start with a chain of 26. And so you'll have, when you do the chain of 26, when you crochet back, you should have 25 stitches. And you chain one at the end of each row, turn, and then go back. So that 26th chain is actually your chain one from that you'll use on the next rows. So your actual crochet count is 25. All right. So when you count the stitches, you'll have 25 and then your chain one. The chain one doesn't count as a stitch. It's just getting you around the corner to the next row. Super easy pattern, works up fast, and you can do like sets of these. These make great gifts for bridal showers. I've never been invited to a bridal shower except for my sister's, but they'd make a great. And then you maybe do a set of 3 with one of those scrubby ones on top. That would be a really pretty presentation. Let's see how close we are here. Oh, I've got several rows to make this. I'm pretty sure I got several rows yet that need to go. Yeah, I'm not. See how I'm not anywhere near this edge? I probably have 1, 2, 4 or 5 more rows. And what I've got here, I made this basket. And somehow I had all of these little charmy pins that all have to do with knitting and crocheting. I don't know where I got them. One says yarn for days. This one says life would suck without yarn, SUCC. This one says yarnologist and tangled up. Well, we all know we try to avoid the tangled up business, but I made this little basket and I put the handles on. And when you're making a basket, if you want handles, all you got to do is create a chain out of the same number of stitches as you have across here, but do a chain instead. And then skip that many stitches and then keep going around and then do that again here. An equal number of stitches in between. And then the next round, you just go over that chain. And then that's how you get your handles until you get them as thick as you want. And these work out good. And what's really good is when I get tired and I'm in the recliner, I can stick my glasses in the side of that and take my little nap. And then I get up and my glasses don't get knocked on the floor or nothing. So I'm just spending the day back here with my kitties. See here. There's Howard. Tippy's at my foot over there. Yep, now I can't get the camera back up. There we go. Ooh, you're too high. All right, let's see. Oh, let's see. And I got my buttons from Pam. And did I order the pattern or did you stick that in there? Of course, everything is back here shoved in this bedroom. So I still have them right here. But this is the cutest little jumper. Isn't that cute? This looks like it's from the 90s. Let's see. Nope, 2000. Oh, it's a gift. Thank you. I think I'm going to make that because it just looks so comfortable, and you could wear it as a dress just like that, or you could even wear a short sleeved shirt under it instead of long sleeve. It says it uses lightweight tweed, gabardine, cotton, and cotton blends, lightweight denim, cotton interlock, or crepe. Now see, the crepe would be nice and flowy. Oh, and you line the bodice with cotton or cotton blends or lining fabrics. Well, the crepe, I would use a lining fabric instead of a cotton. Yeah, that was awesome. But I wanted to show you guys these vintage buttons. Stitch It Pam in here, she has a Etsy shop or eBay shop. Is it? It's eBay. That she sells her buttons, and these were vintage, and they're just really pretty. Look at that. I love the ones that look like little cogs. But I thought I've got some red fabric that I would make a top, and I could put the red and yellow buttons on it, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those that I could use down the front of a little blouse. So those are lovely. And then she included a pretty card and some words. You know, we all love the sheets of words, right? So thank you, Pam. But she's got some neat things in her shop. If I think about it, Pam, I'll put a link in the description box after I sign off here. So where's my knitting? Back here. Oh, let's see. No, they are very traumatized, and they are so used to sleeping with us, and we had been putting off bringing them in here, and they've just been so traumatized. Oh, they're Bakelite. That's cool. Scott loves Bakelite knobs on his antique radios. So I told Scott, I said, we've got both teams here, and some are needing to go in and out the catio door, and some in and out the front door, and the guys need to use the bathroom in the back of the house because the one in the hallway is not finished. I'm just going to bring them in with me. Maybe they'll remain a little bit more calm, even with all the racket and noise, if I'm with them. And I know tomorrow I'll be sitting in here in dead silence, except for the noise. And I do have noise canceling headphones, and I am going to wear them, even though they won't be plugged into anything, but they'll drown out some of that. So yeah, I've got some bows. The only thing is, Scott got these when he worked at Bose, and the cups on the earphones have failed, so they're not they're real extra squishy because they're getting old, and I think there was something else about them that's changed. But I do have my battery charging somewhere out in the hallway, so I'll put the battery in them tomorrow, and hopefully it'll last all day. Hi, Ann. So yeah, I'm now wondering if this is going to clear off enough that maybe they will send the guys out to maybe do some of the blocking work, or put that last joist in place, the one that Scott broke so bad. It was almost snapped in two. That's why when we walked across there, the whole floor would go like that. So yeah, but we figure about half of those two front rooms has already been pulled up. And so when we get ready to do the hardwood floors, we might have to, I don't know, we're going to have to rearrange things again. That's why I figure if we can get my hobby room and the kitchen back in shape, some of that furniture can go, back in those two rooms. And then perhaps we could get one of those little pods and put the dining room set in there. And I'll have to see how it all comes together. If we needed to, we could move Scott's desk once I get my stuff out of the back bedroom, back into the hobby space. It's all, this is what's going on in Becky's head right now on how to make this the most effective and efficient resettling as I can get it. I almost feel like I need a dry erase board so that Scott and Greg are all on the same wavelength with me. Yeah, we'll have to think on that. And I'm going to ask them when they get here the next time, or ask Trent when he's here again. He's the lead guy. If there's a way they can reduce the amount they have to pull up here in the hallway. They were talking this morning about, because in the hallway, as you come into the house and down the hallway, the boards are going right like this down the hallway. So he was thinking that they would have to take out more just so that we could lay in the hardwoods so they run. Now, what I'm thinking is, if that floor is okay in that first section that's right by Greg's bedroom door, if they could just leave that alone, maybe we could put a couple boards, just make them look like a divider where the narrow part of the hall meets the section they pulled up. And then there at the corner of the linen closet to this bedroom door, if we couldn't just put a strip going the opposite way and then have the boards in the linen closet and such, run the opposite way, or we could do something that way. I don't know. So it's going to be interesting. I thought getting it all ready for them was going to be a big production, but getting it all put back together. You going back to the chair because I'm talking too much? Okay. Don't bully your sister. She has that spot. You have a chair. So yeah, it's been an interesting process. I will be so glad when it's over, completely over. But and cooking's been a real problem because all that fine dust and the sandworm, as we've named the vent that comes up there in the middle of the walkway, we've named that the sandworm. It fell at about 1:30 this morning back under the house. And so it's been, as the heat comes on, it's been blowing dirt around. So everything has this fine, nasty dust, just like Safia told me it would be. It is. But yeah. And I told Scott, I said, do we really need that vent? Could they just board that up and we could tape off where that vent is attached to the HVAC after all? Because we had that added when we first moved in. And yeah, I'm wondering if we could just do that, just remove that and tape it off and not have that vent anymore. It might be something I ask them about, because we don't necessarily need that vent there. I'm going to talk with Scott about it when he gets home, if he's not listening now. And I wonder if that's something they could do for us or not. I got to think on that one. But it's like somebody else said, you could move the vent. Hi, Renee. So yeah, it's been difficult to cook. And, a meal for 2 out is about $30 to $40. And I'm trying not to burn through money that I'm trying to save to pay things off with. But we got to eat. And then tomorrow we'll have no power. I should be in the kitchen cooking food now, just so the refrigerator is got full of cold stuff. Because if it's full of cold stuff, I told Scott, I said, I'm not even throwing out the old food right now, because I want as much cold in there for tomorrow when there's no electricity all day. And I know they'll have a, oh my God, movable electric, why can't I think of that word? Holy heck. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Generator. That's it. Yep, a generator. They're bringing a generator so that the electric team can put in the new box while the power's off. So tomorrow I will not be online because I'm not going to use up, because, with the power off, our internet will also not work because it got electric in it. So, and I don't want to use up, stuff on the phone. No, Howard, you can't go out. I'm sorry. I might have to carry him and put him out on the porch for a little bit. He's sniffing under the door. Oh, there goes a paw. He said, if I could just get my paw out there, maybe I'll fit in this 1-inch crack. We'll see where they put it and how it all works. Trent said it's a big one because they got to be able to run the air compressor for the big nailing gun. And bless them. The lead guy of the kids, he by the end of the day, he about had his fill of the young ones that don't even understand how to use tools. Scott said he doesn't understand how kids don't know how to use tools. I said, well, their parents hire everything out. They're not like us. He and I have always done as much as we could for ourselves. And yeah, kids nowadays, they're used to hiring it out. But if you don't have people that have grown up seeing people using tools, show your kids how to use a hammer, how to use a crowbar, how to use a saw. It's crazy the number of things, basic tools kids have no clue about. Scott said he ran into this when he worked at Train, is they didn't know how to use a screwdriver at all. So anywho, I better get back to knitting or I'm not going to get this thing done. I would like to get this off these huge knitting needles so I could put these away. All right, so we're on a knit side. We'll see if they let me do that. That would be a plan. Yesterday for dinner, I didn't have any meat defrosted, so I just opened a can of black-eyed peas, and we had leftover collards, leftover cornbread, and then I roasted some carrots and a butternut squash and some sweet potato, and the choice of orange was whatever you put on your plate. So Scott avoided the carrots. I think he had a sweet potato, maybe. No, I don't know what he had, but he fixed his own plate like a good husband for a change. So anyhow, I think that's all the blathering I had. So what is everybody else up to today? I was kind of watching Janet Nash. I fell asleep for a little while, and my brother-in-law called and wanted to know if we had to get Mother to an appointment on the 8th, which is 2 days from now. And then he was told by his sister that no, it's the 14th, and he wanted to call and see if I understood. And I said, this is what I think is the appointment we went to last week replaced the appointment that was on the 8th. So I don't know. There's too many people involved in making appointments for medical things for my mother-in-law, and they're not always good about sharing what and when, even though we're responsible for getting her there. So David and I kind of feel like we're flying blind, simply because, someone else has made the appointments. So he's called her doctor to see if things can be changed to a time that is better for him, because I can't take her this week because of the house. I've got to be here. I don't want them to accidentally let the cats out or the dog out, which the dog is outside right now because she was acting funny. And then I was trying to talk with the guys while they were here because they came to discuss the mix up with the plywoods. And then they discovered that they were about to make a boo-boo with using pressure treated under hardwoods, which is a big no-no. So it might actually end up costing less than thought, unless the labor goes up, because yeah. Oh, you got to go get your shots. Ugh. I need to go down to CVS and get my booster for the ugly virus, and then I need a flu shot. Scott got his flu shot at work. Oh, they've made them all switch to everybody wears the same uniform type of situation, because where he works is now owned by a Japanese company, and they're big into the whole matching uniform thing. But Scott said he can hardly stand these uniforms. It's like wearing a plastic bag, and he's got super dry skin. So, he's just creeped out by the feeling of them. And he's always been a very tactile person, and textures really bother him. I don't know what he's going to do. Howard, that is your reflection. Show him what you were doing. Show him. That's your reflection, dummy. He said, well, if you're going to talk to me like that, I'm not going to show him. This is what he does at 1 o'clock in the morning, because he can see his reflection in the mirror. He gets up there and he pats on the window. Instead of being a bird dog, he's a bird cat. He's watching the birds out the window. I wish he would do it again, because it's kind of funny, except for when you're trying to sleep. There he goes. Why? Howard, why? Oh, he about fell over. No, he's not. He's not. He's a goofball. He's our goofball. Callie's irritated because he's right next to her doing that. She's just like, shut up. I'm trying to rest over here. And Tippy's just happy as he can be because he's sleeping on the temperature blanket. That's what's on the bed. As you guys know, anybody that crochets that's done a temperature blanket, how huge they get. That's what's on the bed right now, because I've pulled up our regular linens, and I wanted to have something to pull over me, in case they were here turning the power off and no heat. That was another reason to move the cats in here, so I wouldn't be frozen. Not getting any closer. Couple more rows, and I'll have this one done. Howard, enough. That ledge is not wide enough for you between the upper and lower window. Goofball. I kind of wish they would come out and do the get that last joist in, because man, they could, if they come out and work 4 hours this afternoon, just putting the blocking and the that joist and the blocking in, then when they showed up in the morning, they could pop the darn plywood down one after another in the front, and then they could focus on the back bedroom, the back 2 rooms, where they're replacing one joist. They're in the kitchen. Along the wall, there's that one joist where when the house was built, they cut like up into the joist over. So there's like maybe 3 inches of the joist remaining where they put the heating vent up into the wall. They just cut the joist away. So they're going to re-block that out. So it's more supportive there. So that'll probably take them a minute. What really slowed them down was the sill repair. The sill that runs on either side of the chimney is 3 thicknesses thick. So it's like 6 inches. So it's 3 2-inch boards back to back in there. And there was holes drilled for some of the wiring to run through that sill. So that really slowed him down. I mean, his back was the main kid, he was limping. His back was killing him at the end of the day. And I told him, I said, you need some ice packs and some Tylenol or Motrin if you have it. He's given up because nobody was giving him any attention. So he's back on the bed now. It's very gray. And now they're talking that we may see snow by Thursday, Friday. So here's hoping they can knock the floors out for the most part in the rooms they've already tore up on tomorrow and Wednesday. And I guess the Thursday and Friday will be them tearing out and putting back. This is my wishful thinking. They'll get the floor in the hallway done on Thursday and Friday. We'll have to walk across plywood to go to the bathroom if they don't get it all done in one day. But I have a feeling there's going to be some joist repair work needs to be done under there. And of course, there will be blocking that has to be done because, they'll cut away. So, yeah. And to think, Scott and I used to dream about buying a really old house and fixing it up. At 60 years old and 65 years old, we don't feel so inclined to do that anymore. Yeah. So if the floor crew comes today and the cats need a break from in here, I can put them out on the catio one at a time. I can't carry more than one at a time. You have 7 inches of snow, and it is not going to be in the 30-degree range until Sunday. Hang in there and get stocked up. Well, I'm afraid to bring too much. Our cabinets are full of food. I mean, we wouldn't go hungry. What happens down here in South Carolina when any snow, even a half an inch of snow is expected, everybody runs to the store or stops on their way home and they buy bread and milk. There won't be a gallon of milk to be found anywhere, and loaves of bread will be gone because I guess you can eat peanut butter and jelly and have some bread. But if the power goes out, I guess you have to stick the bread out on the porch or in the snow to keep it fresh. So anyhow, we do have a camp stove that we could cook with out on the porch. And if nothing else, Scott could take a frying pan out in the garage. We have one of those kerosene heaters from the 80s, and you can cook on top of it. It gets that nice and warm. And the little crippled cat that's like 11 or 12 years old from next door, she's taken, if we go anywhere at night, when we come back, she runs to our garage door because Greg started this thing of when he'd come in late and she'd be holding that paw up and limping, and because half of her toes are gone. I don't know what happened to her, but they had her in the house for a while and paid for her to have all this surgery. So they used to care for her. But anyhow, he takes her in there and he starts the kerosene heater up to help her get warm. So then what Becky did is I fixed a box with one of those emergency blankets, and I put some cedar chips in it, and I put a hospital sheet, like blanket thing that we had to bring home from the hospital, in there. So I think she thinks she has her own apartment in our garage. She's like, I need to get in my apartment. So that's where she'll probably stay Thursday and Friday. In fact, I forgot to check the garage to see if the guys put her in there, because Scott and Greg will put her in there and then forget about her. I did set her up a litter box, but it needs to be changed. So I need to do that. That's something I could do. I could run and get some cat litter. But let's see. Are we close? Are we close? Supposed to get a package today. All right. I don't know if I'm doing the binding off right or not, but it looks like I can do it because it looks like it's a square. So good. It's on a knit row. Let's see if I can do this. I'll tell you how I do this binding off, and you guys can tell me if I'm doing it wrong. So I take and I knit one stitch and get it over here, and then I'll knit another stitch, and then I stop and I take the first stitch over the top of the second stitch, keeping the second stitch on the needle, and then I take another stitch and I pull the second stitch over the third stitch, which this is so unnatural for me. This is why I prefer crochet. That sounds like the mailman. And there's a package coming today. Oh, bye, Safia. Thanks. I'll see you later. It wasn't terribly cold here this morning. It was in the 40s. But then we were supposed to get all this wind. And there's some parts of South Carolina that got a little ice, I think. There was some purple on our weather map, but that's in the upstate. So hopefully I'm doing this right. Yep, the mail has gone. I did not hear them drop anything on the porch. So this is just so weird to me. I probably look like a fool too, but it's okay. At least I'm trying it, right? Keeping that second one on is where I have the trouble. And if I drop it, then it all just starts falling apart because I don't know how to catch it. I can tell where my stitches are in crochet so much easier than knitting. But I'm determined to get this knitting thing because I love the way knitted things look, but crochet is so much easier for me. I think it's because what I learned first. We'll see if this looks like a hot mess when I get done, or if I've drawn it up too tight or whatever. We'll see. The only other stuff coming was just junk mail and some bills, so it'll probably mostly go in the trash can. Because I'm bad. I don't save junk mail. That's why I'll never do junk journaling, because I just don't hold on to the junk. I just can't do it. My son does. My son has tons of junk mail. I could just start, when I want to do one, I could just say, Greg, go through your mail that's been there for months. I don't know how he stays on top of things when he doesn't look at his mail. You feel that way about crochet? Oh, I can go so fast with crochet. knitting, I feel like I'm just running in mud. I have a book here that has a sweater on the cover. It was the whole reason I bought the book, was for this sweater. I can't start another project, but I keep thinking about it being over there. I do need to work on my Shannon's. That's what I ought to do today, is go get that list of stitches that Shannon has for the crochet along and quickly watch the videos for them and maybe take notes on the stitches, because that's something I could do tomorrow when I don't have access to the internet. And so I could catch up on that blanket. I do need to get up and walk around though, because my legs are starting to cramp. And not having lower back support sitting in the bed is, ooh, too much stuff to keep track of. See, I feel that way about knitting. I just don't get it. Until you told me that the back of the, when it looks weird and it doesn't look nice and knitted, that lumpy bumpy, that's always the purl side. Until you told me that, I'd get confused, and all of a sudden I'd be doing knits on purl sides and purls on knit side. And it was very obvious that I'd screwed up. And you know, Arne and Carlos, they make knitting look like, oh, piece of cake. And they just go, shoo, shoo. But they have a different method. That Norwegian method of knitting is really quite interesting. It's all in one hand, basically. Oh my God, one more stitch. All right, so then when you get this last one pulled over this other one without pulling it off. Oh, see, I did it. Hang on. Don't mess up. Then I'm assuming it's just like crochet and you just cut it and you pull it up. I'm assuming. And then sew in your ends like that. And then just pull this one up like that. See, I got it too tight. This one will be for me because I got it too tight again. So there's my little square that's knitted. And I guess it's okay. And I can put these away. That's it. All right. I think I'm going to go back to the one row of single crochet, one row of half double, single, half double, single, and work my way through this bin of stuff. I might look for a movie to watch or something. Oh, you've potted me. Thank you. I saw where Peg's got her house up for sale. I hope she sells quickly. The houses in this neighborhood generally sell quickly. Every time I check what the value is on this house, I'm amazed at what the value is. It's crazy. Our problem is, even though we could sell this for what they think, you know, they think it's worth on Zillow, where are we going to find another house like this for that same amount of money? Because like Heather was saying, even a smaller house is like $400,000 up there where she is. Housing prices are crazy. That's another reason for us to get this work done now, is we have the money, and Lord only knows what the cost of lumber is going to go to, you know, in the next 4 years. And we do want to retire in the next 4 years. I'm just going to. So when I sew in tails, I go in 2 directions so that they don't back out. And I was listening to Mikey at Crochet Crowd, and he says to split your threads and run run your yarn back through and split the thread, and that way it grabs it too, so your ends don't work out on you. Hi, Tip. They don't want to see your bottom, honey. They don't want to see your bottom. I know you love me. I love you too. Are you happy? You my happy boy? Yes. Is Mama's happy boy? He is ecstatic that he's in here with me. Depends on what you're knitting. Cool. I'm just sewing in ends and chit-chatting with you guys. Hope that's okay. I gotta go get the mail, buddy. Oh, I love you. Are you showing them how much you love me? This one's usually the bravest of the cats, but this whole business of, I think, being separated from us has been rough on them. And Scott was just feeling really bad because Tippy seemed to be traumatized. So I said, do you want to bring him in the bedroom with us? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, so who's the softie in this when it comes to Tippy? Scott was like, but he's little. And he is. He's the smallest of the three cats. And poor Piper, she wants to come in and see Grandma. But I can't let her in because if she falls under the house, I'll never get her out because she is as wide as she is long, and I just wouldn't be able to get a hold of her. Oh, I like that. I've had that on those needles for a month and a half just because it's so hard to knit on those great big huge needles. I kept hitting things when I tried to do it in the recliner. So this one compared to my crochet ones, let me show you the difference in size. So the knit one is so much smaller. And I don't remember how many stitches. I think I tried to do 26 stitches. Let's look here. I don't remember what I did. Yeah, they are. They're the same size, 25 stitches across. And so that shows you the difference you get in the number of stitches, when from crochet to knit. And then the hook size for this, when I crochet, I use a I or a 9, which is 5.5 millimeters. And these are 5.5 millimeter 9s knitting needles. So they're the same size around, but that's quite a difference in the size. So they were both the same millimeter. Maybe it's just my technique, or maybe crochet is just fatter than knitting. Is that why you need less yarn when you knit? I don't know. Knitting is a mystery to me. Oh, Judy, bless you. She's going back out to shovel. Just take breaks. Don't give yourself a heart attack. I might be a tight knitter. I probably am because I'm so terrified of dropping a stitch because I haven't figured out how to identify where the stitch connects to me on here looking at it. Maybe if I do it for a while, I'll get better at it, right? Practice makes perfect. I'm going to stop talking. I'll get off. All right. I was watching Kaylee's little girl. I think she's 3 or 4. She knits, and she must be a real loose knitter because her knitting was real loose. But for a little tiny girl like that, she was doing really good. And then her little boy was wanting to learn too. So she was helping him learn. Her grandpa crochets. So I found that all really interesting. Here's that pattern that I just keep this because, and it says a size J or 6 millimeter, and this is an I. So if I used a J, it would be a little bit bigger than those cloths, but I like the size I'm getting with the smaller hook. So it's just a chain of 26. In the second chain from the hook, you single crochet across, and then that second row, you do a half double crochet, a single crochet, half double crochet across, chain one, turn, and then you do a row of single crochets, chain one, turn, and then you repeat rows 2 and 3 and fasten it off when you get a square, and you're done. So yay to having that off these knitting needles. So I'm going to go put these away. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for hanging with me. And if you guys haven't watched Sew Carol, SOCAROLE 66, she's doing a challenge for herself again this year. And what she's done is her dad made her a little spinner. It's a square with a round spinner on it. And she's divided the grid out. And what she's doing is she's putting little pictures of fabrics that are in her stash. You could do this with yarn as well. Just take a little picture of the yarn. And if it's yarn you've had for a while, or if it's fabric you've had for a while, anybody can do this. But what she does is she spins it, and whatever it lands on, that's the fabric she has to use next. She has to use that fabric because she's trying to clear her stash of the stuff that's older. So you could do that with any of your supplies. Say you have some paints and things that you've used very little. If you want to accept the challenge of having to use it because the dial has chosen, it works great. She says she's used this with when she's got her 2 little grandsons with her. She made it up during the summer break, but she did like activities, like there was painting, there was go for a walk with grandma, there was, different activities, and she said it alleviated arguments. And I thought that was a tremendous idea for small kids. Oh, Carol's here and I'm fixing to say goodbye. You're listening? Oh, you're filling an order. I have the sock yarn right there in a bag, but I really want to catch up on my crochet along. Let me show you that really, really quick. Hi, Deborah. Let's see. Okay, let me set this up. Excuse me. Sorry for the butt shot. Anyway, let me see. I think the moss stitch is the next stitch I need to do. But this is the crochet along I'm doing with Shannon, Art Junkie. And I know that she's doing is somebody picks a stitch and they pick the color. Well, I went rogue and I've been doing it rotating through the colors I had left over from a different project. So this is what I have going on. Instead of a different color for each stitch, I do one row in the stitch assigned in the colors, and I rotate through. So I'm spreading the orange out, and I'm spreading all the different colors out. But I just love how it's turning out, and I don't know what I left off with or if I've got enough rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There must be. I've got my 10 rows. So I think the moss stitch is the next one I need to do. But I got to go get the list from Shannon. Honey, this one's not done. You can't lay on it yet. Howard claims all Afghans in process. So this is the members only crochet along with Shannon at Art Junkie. Come on, buddy. So, and I could sew in all those tails because with doing a different color, the only one that is giving me a lot of trouble was that bloomin' V-stitch. Do you see how it's pulled in on the edge of my blanket? That is ticking me off. But anyway, I don't know if I didn't do it right or what, but like Shannon said, it's meant to be something to learn the stitches. So I'll go with that. Janet and Freddie are here. Oh, Tippy had to go to the potty box. Great. So sorry for the digging. This is my, if you hear the digging, I'm sorry. This is my, my organic project I got started on, where I'm just kind of crocheting different shapes. And I shared this before, where I've got different, and I'll fit these together, and I changed the order of them. And then I've actually came across some pink in my stash in that same yarn, which I can't identify this yarn. It's kind of a knobby, cottony thing, like here. I don't know what this is. So I don't know what to look for, but I'm sure it's a cotton. It feels like cotton, but it's got a little thread runs around it, and it's bubbly. You know what I mean? It's like, see how it's bubbly? I don't know what it is. Does anybody else identify that? If you do, leave it in the comments. But anyway, I have been working on some organic pieces, and I would love to do it all in these kind of cottony yarns, and then put them together and make even just a tote bag out of them would be fun, and just fill in the best I can. So yeah, and I'm really enjoying the whole process of just making organic shapes just by changing the stitches, like throw a double crochet with a treble crochet with a, you just make it up as you go along. How rude, Tippy. How rude. That's the bad part about having the litter box in here with me too. Ugh. But they can't leave this room. All right. One looks like an avocado. All right. I think I'm going to go get the mail, and I hope you guys have a good day. Again, tomorrow I will not be online because I will not have power, and I don't want to burn up my phone in case people need to call me. So that's how tomorrow will go. So thanks for hanging with me while I finish that dishcloth, and I will see you later. Bye, guys. Thanks, Vicki.